In this video, we will focus on the essential methods and techniques that are needed for climbing and improving in soloq. Always have a goal ahead of you. This could be just to increase your rank, for example, from platinum to diamond, or it could be a goal that's a lot further, reaching a semi-professional level, or even a professional level in the game. Setting clear goals and reaching said goals can motivate us and make us focus more while playing the game. Climbing through said goals are very similar to climbing the ranked leagues in the game. It feels very rewarding and satisfying to reach a higher division. Next thing we have to do is choose a main and an off role if we don't have them already. A lot of players just keep playing on random roles that they feel like at the moment. And if we play like this, without giving much thought to the game, we can never improve effectively. This fact is easily proven if we take a look at pro players. 90% of the time, pro players only play one role, their main role in a team, and rarely if ever change their main roles, since it takes years to master a role properly because of the lane and champion type differences. To improve and climb the most effectively, we need to narrow down our champion pool to 3-4 characters on our main role, and to 1 character on every other role if we ever get auto-filled. But most importantly, if we can, we must play on our main role all the time. Narrowing down our champion pool is important because in League there are more than 100 champions, and mastering one champion, learning their strengths, weaknesses, their counters, and the things that they counter can take from 1 to 200 games. So by limiting our champion pool, we can effectively climb using those 3-4 characters only. And yes, it will get boring after a while, but as with everything in life, you have to sacrifice things to reach your goals. In League, if you want to take the game seriously, you will kill off some of the fun you have with the game. How to choose those 3-4 champions. Let's compare if we're unexperienced or more experienced. If we're still very much new to the game or are at lower ranks, we can choose between 2 options. We can choose characters with low mechanic skills that are easy to play and try to climb to higher ranks using simpler characters. Since we use simple champions, we don't need to focus throughout the whole game to land the hard combos and mechanically challenging moves. We can focus on the macro aspects of the game, like wave management, warding, objectives, etc. Improvement can be noticed early with this strategy, so we can use this to climb to higher ranks faster than the other method that comes up. The next method is to play characters that require a lot of mechanical skill. This can prove very hard since you not only have to focus on the game itself, but you have to focus on executing hard combos and mechanically challenging things. It can take up to a couple hundred games to master a champion properly, and during those games there's no guarantee that you will get better at the macro side of the game, since you had to focus on your mechanics all the time you were playing. But with this method, you can improve your mechanics, commonly referred to as the micro side of League. And if we get better mechanically, we can abuse that to gain ranks faster after a couple hundred of grindy games. So the choice is on you. Both methods are effective. One method promises short-term returns, while the other promises long-term returns. Another very good method to improve our mechanics is to play games like Aim Booster or OSU. These games can help improve our mechanic skills even more than just playing the game. It's a common misconception that you will improve if you keep spamming games every day 24/7. It's proven that a player's attention span to focus and try hard on games usually lowers the more he plays on the same day because he gets tired. The best method to improve is to play 4 or 5 games every day, but to play those games fully focusing. not giving up, and not flaming our teammates, none of those negative things that can distract and tilt us. Using a program that captures your screen is recommended here, because it's different to watch a replay of a game from spectator, and to watch the way you played from your perspective. After every game you play, you should watch the recording and write down on a notepad what has happened in the game. Did you win or lose? What cost you the game, or why did you win? We need to focus on these aspects of the game and give more thought to the game while you're playing. Examples for notes could be, I lost. You write down what role you played, what was the matchup, and what did you do good and bad in the game. For example, I didn't ward at level 3 and the enemy jungler killed me because of that. If you write these things down, you will have a much easier time to remember them in your future games. It's important to not get discouraged if you don't climb through the ranks instantly after a couple of months of serious tryharding. It's not commonly mentioned, but in League of Legends every single player improves constantly. Even though your rank may not mirror it, but you have definitely become a better player than 1 year ago. Since League is constantly changing and every player is getting better, sometimes every player just improves in our tempo. Let's look at an example here. In Season 3, during the famous Ultimate plus Flash with Lee Sin, the Insect has been one of the hardest things in the game and only the best of the best players can do it. But nowadays, the majority of the players are capable of doing it after practicing it for a while. And that takes us to our next point. The practice tool. You should use the practice tool every day to get warmed up before playing ranked matches, to practice the combos and DMG outputs of your champion on certain levels or at certain items. Always play consciously. Don't let yourself go into autopilot mode where you just click around and play aimlessly. Any game that you play in autopilot without consciousness is just a waste of time. Time summoner spells, check your minimap constantly, use a lot of pings to communicate with your team. Try to learn how much damage you do on certain levels and such. Always think before you make a play, for example. Before making a gank, do we have vision on the enemy champions? Does the enemy have summoner spells ready? Let's look at conscious play through an example. League is a little bit like chess. In League, you make a decision and you execute that decision using your mechanics. So if your decision is correct, everything else depends on the way you make the play. But if you make a bad decision, most of the time you cannot make up for it with good mechanics. If an enemy champion has low health points and you have no information about the enemy team, he could easily be baiting you and the enemies could be waiting in the fog of war. They could chain CC you until you die while being unable to move. The whole situation could have been avoided if you stop and take a moment to decide if you could be baiting or not.